I do have some blooms coming up on my tomato plants. But I wanted to show you, we had some cucumbers come up over here. And of course we just buried him in the compost. This guy came up through the compost. So he's that determined. I'm going to let him grow. These are cucumbers that were probably rotten ones that fell off the vines last year, got tilled in from over there, and ended up being over here in the tomato section. So this year we'll have one cucumber. I don't know what kind it is, but we'll have one cucumber growing onto the tomato vines, but that's all right. But yeah, the tomatoes are doing good. This is where I would like to plant my corn. We covered that with compost, put a tarp on it last fall with the intention of, as soon as we can, we're going to make a new garden section over here. But I told Rodney that I think we can plant a row of corn and beans right on the top of the compost this year and mulch it, and we'll see what happens. And I'll just have to water it with the sprayer. So that's our next project for the garden, is to clean this area up and weed eat and pull that plastic off of half so that it exposes the top of it. We'll plant corn and beans, and then we'll mulch down the other side, and we'll see what happens. I figure it's worth a try. I just don't have enough room in the other garden for corn. It was really nice last year. We had a little bit of corn in it, but it'd be nice to have a whole row of corn, and the beans and the corns grow well together so we can have more green beans. So the deer came in and chowed on my pepper plants, and one of the cucumbers, you can tell which one, and they ate some of that summer squash. This one they ate to a stick, but you can see it's actually starting to grow leaves. So I left it in, being hopeful, and it is coming back. And now you saw we mulched the entire garden, except we pulled it back from the beans. So the beans are coming up. Along here you can see them. They're coming up, and so are the weeds. So this weekend we're going to cut the weeds out and replant any spots that the beans didn't come up. But most of them are coming up. It took 2 weeks, so these haven't started coming up yet because we have another week for that second row. But we're gonna cut those other weeds out with a hoe and put the mulch on it so that they won't come back, and plant a few beans that didn't come up by then. But you can see here that we have grass coming up. So I have pulled some of the grass that's just a couple pieces, but this section here we're gonna have to put some more mulch down because there's already grass coming up. So when you put the mulch down the first time, you usually end up having to mulch again. So to a second layer to make sure that it doesn't come up through the mulch, to make it a little thicker. Everything's growing pretty good. You can see the tomatoes a lot better. And the one cucumber is starting to grow up the vine. And now you can see my eggplants down there at the end. And all my melons and squashes along here. And like I said, the beans are coming up. So it's doing good. Well, we have one little bloom on this one. This is the one the deer ate a little bit of. But that one has lots of blooms. And it's climbing up really well. See how much it's in the vine, or how much it's in the panel already. But that one's that one's coming along. And I have my first bloom on my eggplant too. That's a eggplant bloom. They're doing pretty good. I'm gonna weed the beans a little bit with my stirrup hoe. That's my favorite hoe. Had that for years. Works better, I think, than a regular hoe. You basically just do that. And then spread it all back. See, that's all you have to do. I like that one. Anyway, I'm gonna weed this a little bit so we can spread the mulch back on tomorrow. Sprinklers are on and working. After we had the deer come and eat our peppers again, even with the windmills up there, we finally broke down and bought some somewhat natural spray, deer repellent, and I sprayed all my plants with it. And I can't spray it after it has fruit or vegetables growing on it. But right now nothing has anything growing on it. So I went through and sprayed the plants. I can spray them again in 10 days while they're growing fast like this. And we'll see. I'll keep you posted on that if the deer get them again. But they have not got them since I sprayed them. So, and I sprayed the ground where the beans were coming up, just to kind of keep them out of that, and we'll see what happens. But the pinwheels were not working this year, even though I had them all around the peppers, because I know, even though the internet says deer don't like peppers, that is always the first thing that deer get in my garden are the peppers. And they even eat the big pepper plants with jalapeno peppers and stuff on them. So they love peppers for some reason. That's why I put the windmills by the peppers, but this year it did not work. So we'll see if the spray does. So here's what I thought was the cucumber, but it's looking like it's a squash of some sort. But I guess at this point, we might as well let it grow and see what it has. I don't see any blooms yet, but it sure looks like it's a squash. So we'll wait and see what happens. I didn't expect to have a squash in here in the tomato plants. I thought it'd be okay to have a cucumber in here, but I guess we'll find out. Well, here we are in July and everything's growing pretty good. Got some bugs on some things we gotta work on. Of course, we still have to probably replant some of these peppers because we were waiting, and some of them just aren't gonna make it after the deer got them. And you can tell which deer which of the cucumbers the deer ate and which it didn't. That poor little one is drying. And the first row of beans is up. Second row we replanted because we have one that came up. They just were not coming up. But we do have some beets that we weeded out. You see the beet? I don't know if you can see it or not. Right there is a beet. We haven't grown beets before, but we planted more of them. And our zucchinis are doing really well. And there's the summer squash, the yellow crookneck. There's the other one that the deer ate down to stubs, and it came back. And there's a watermelon that's very small. There's some cantaloupes down at the end that are doing pretty good. And my acorn squash is right there. And yes, I need to weed down there and mulch some more. But everything's growing really good. And thanks for watching. I'll give you another update. We should be having some vegetables growing pretty soon. They got blooms on a few of the things. Thanks for watching. Talk to you next time. Have a great day.